You ever heard of the coffee table? Of course you have. That's because you're here to watch our big spoiler talk with some of our friends. Chuck, your movie guy, Slasher Talk, and Splattercast that joined for one big spoilerific talk about the coffee table. Stick around to the end because we kind of went off the rails and started talking about a bunch of movies that you're going to want to write down and that you're probably going to want to watch on your next movie watch. Check this out. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we have quite a few special guests to sit down and do a spoiler discussion for one of the most intense movies that I saw all year. Although a few of you commenters might have said differently to me and said I lied to you or something, I don't know, but we love you nonetheless. Not everybody's going to like this movie, and that's why we're here to talk about it. So today we have a few special guests. We have Justin from Slasher Talk, who is someone I've met through Chuck, who is also movie reviewers on TikTok. And they also do have YouTube channels, I believe, but they're mostly TikTokers. And they have a wealth of movies and knowledge to talk to you about, as well as Dylan from Splattercast here, obviously, who you guys already know. We've worked plenty times in the past. So welcome, guys. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me, man.
Great to be here, man. I'm so happy to be on another channel for once. It's so awesome.
I'm a host. Well, how about this? Since Chuck is the reason that we're here today, maybe we should let him, because honestly, you are the reason why we're here today.
Chuck's a fucking legend, so.
Listen, I flooded TikTok with the coffee table. That Scott guy probably hates me.
Are you talking about Kaye's agent?
Yeah, but it ended up doing so good, I don't think he cared because, listen, when you it was like when I watched it, I had to tell somebody. It was burning a hole in my soul that I had to tell somebody, or I at least had to have. Because I got it from another person, sent it to me and said, you have to watch this. Just go in blind and watch it. I didn't know nothing about it, and I just watched it. And I texted her, and I said, fuck you. And she said, thank you so much. It was from Kaylee from Black Box Horror, and she said, thank you. I'm so happy that somebody has to share my trauma. And what do you do with trauma? You share it with somebody else. So it immediately went to Justin because I just had to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is CTAA, Coffee Tables Anonymous.
Yeah.
That is.
But yeah, so how did you hear about it? Did Scott just hit you up and throw you a link or something? Or?
No. This girl Kaylee Black Box Horror. We exchanged emails for screeners and stuff. Like we have a mutual agreement. And she hit me up and she was like, "Look, you gotta see this." She is, and I don't know where she got it from. And then she sent it to me, and I emailed Scott, and he emailed me back, and then it was just the floodgates opened after that.
Yeah, and you had a pretty funny video that was on TikTok too, which inevitably handed the torch to this fellow right here, Justin from Slasher Talk, who his video hit 1 million or so views.
Yeah, it's at our video that Chuck and I did, which took us two and a half hours to fucking make.
Almost 3 hours.
And we were like, man,
this
thing's gonna get 300 views, and it's at 1.3 million right now, and Chuck's is at 150.
It's at 150, but mine got flagged at 30,000. They pulled it off the For You page, and it still found its way to do good. And then I made another one that did 20,000.
Man,
yeah. What's crazy is mine has gotten reported for being an advertisement for the movie 9 times. I'm like, it's not a fucking advertisement, man. It's so funny. But yeah, I got the same stuff where it's just people are like, you are lying, this movie sucks, it's not disturbing. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
no, it's not a Serbian film, sorry. Like
very few films are. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's just I got a couple people that were they were like, man, you know what, you don't have to sell it that hard, like, and I'm like, no, I'm this is just me. This is me talking, bro.
It's genuinely I watched it Chuck, like 3 weeks ago?
Something like that. Yeah.
I think about it almost every day. Like I have the DVD now and stuff, and it just sits on my desk. And I'm just like, fuck that movie, man. Like
I went in when I was done and hugged my children, like literally, because hug my kids. Like I had to like reach in and feel that what was still there. You know what I mean? I'm like, Jesus Christ. And the crazy thing about it is like that's not the worst part of it. Like that's where the trauma begins. But like the next hour and 16 minutes is brutal.
I gotta say, like when I found out what the fucking moment was, I actually took a sigh of relief because I didn't know what to expect going into this movie. I was like, oh my God, is this going to be like one of those really depraved sexual movies that I really don't want to deal with?
Oh,
yeah. And I was like, I don't know what to expect. I was like, oh, well, that's fucked up, but I kind of feel much better about that now.
Right. At least he's not fucking the neighbor upstairs. You know what I mean?
No shit.
Yeah, definitely.
I was like, this movie's going to get fucking wild for sure.
Yeah.
I have some thoughts on that, by the way, when we get to that
I want to
part.
mention to everyone viewing this now, this is a spoiler discussion, and we are not going to hold back. And I promise you, I know some of you out there are like, I don't really mind spoilers. Fuck you. Go see the movie, support it, and then come back. It's an easy entry fee, and you're gonna thank us for it afterwards. Trust us. So, well, most of you anyway. So sorry, Dylan. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just saying. Obviously, I got this from Alex. This was something where he hit us up in our group chat and was just like, "Hey guys, this movie kind of blew my mind." And whenever Alex says that, it's like it's one of those things. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna check this out for sure. It's made the list, but he was adamant that we have to make this a priority. And I bought it on Amazon right away because I think it was you, Chuck, who had told him that it was like it accidentally dropped on Amazon. It wasn't supposed to.
Yep, their distributor messed it up and put it on there.
Yeah, so I grabbed it because I was like, you never know with these things if they're gonna pull them off or not. And it took me a few days to sit down and actually watch it. I just had a heck of a weekend there because like I had watched Infested, and that one just like really got under my skin. I'm not even afraid of spiders, but that movie fucked me up. Yeah, and then I put this one on, and I'm watching it. My son is 2, and he's asleep next to me.
Oh Christ!
And I'm watching it on my iPad, and the scene happens, and I won't say it yet, but I literally paused it. And I literally held my son for a minute, like just kind of sat there and stroked his head and stuff. And I texted Alex. I said, "Hey man, I'm gonna get back to this tomorrow. I just don't know if I'm in the right headspace for this." So I literally like a couple days later, I sat down and restarted the movie.
Yeah, I gave a rash of shit for it. I was like, "You're gonna break the continuity."
Yeah, I restarted it for that purpose, and I was just like, man, this is solid. This is very well done. But after that initial shock and just having a young child, it's like, no, I needed a second because it's very rare that a film will do that to me, and I got to say this is one of those ones that it's shocking, but the way they do it, and we'll get into it, is just it's done just the right amount to get under your skin and really make you feel the emotions of what they're trying to portray. It's like it's pretty insane how they did it. It's very well done.
There's no way on earth that I thought that was going to be it because it's such a taboo thing.
Yeah, and I'm so happy, Dylan, that you had the same experience that I had with Alex, that I had with Chuck, because Chuck literally texted me and was like, "I'm sending you a link. You open the link, you hit play. That's all you got to do. Like, you ain't reading shit. Just open this link, do it now." And I'm like, oh. Like, if Chuck tells me this is stop whatever it is that you're doing and watch this now, I was like, will do.
What was the anticipation level?
We'll get into more of like kind of where I was thinking, but I was like, foreign foreign film about a coffee table. I was like, this is gonna get weird. Like, and then the moment happened, and I was like,
shit. Like,
okay.
what the hell?
And then I'm like, we have an hour left. What in the hell? Yeah, but yeah, I'm so happy that you have that set because, like, when Chuck, when he reaches out and says, "Hey, do it now," I'm like, this is gonna be a banger. Like, cool, sweet, sounds good, brother.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have the shorthand with Alex there. Where it's like I said, we keep in touch in our group chat pretty regularly, so it's like we're always passing each other movies, but like. Alex tends to find these little gems. He's always digging around and finding these like foreign film gems that he can just throw our way. I remember when we were both looking forward to When Evil Lurks, but I had gotten the screener the same day you were at the theater. And so you went into the theater and watched it, and I was going to watch it later that night. And he literally was like, dude, this fucking movie, man. He's like, there's a scene where his girlfriend Christina like stood up and screamed in the theater or something, and I was like, okay, all right, we'll see how it is. We'll see. Big talk, and I don't know if you guys have seen that one.
The dog?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I love the fucking dog.
It's the best. Too. That was my favorite movie of last year.
The fact that he doubled down with the under the table shake scene, yeah. I was like, I was in a theater all by myself. And whenever they went back under the table and zoomed in, I was like, you know what? I fucking love this guy because it's such a taboo thing.
Mm-hmm. And Chuck, we've learned that Damien Rugna and Kai Casas are best friends.
They are.
Yeah,
it's true. Because I just interviewed them, and I did I interviewed Damien before, and then I interviewed Kaye. And then I asked them, "Are you guys gonna, work together?" Things like that, And then it opened up a whole door of like goodies right there.
Yeah,
and they're hilarious.
Hilarious.
He said that they're way darker than any of these movies could ever be. Like in their humor.
Oh yeah, the email that I don't want to reveal the email because we didn't reveal what actually happens in the thing, so maybe this is the segue into that. But he sent Justin and I an email and said, thank you for the views. We really appreciate it. I don't speak English very well because I've been too busy decapitating babies to learn your language. And I thought it was the funniest shit ever. I was like, I love this man.
I literally said the same thing. I was like, I fucking love this man.
I mean, we need that sense of humor these days anymore because everything else is so fucking tragic. You might as well fucking ride that. Yeah.
It is.
They're really nice guys too. That's the other thing too. Is like, it's not like they're maladjusted, like transient dudes that just happen to pick up a camera and like fucking cause problems, Yeah. They're just nice guys.
And they care about their art.
Yeah.
Like they've been offered from what I've gathered from the three-way discussions I've been having is they've been offered. Well, Damien has been offered to make a film in the U.S. And pretty significantly, like more money than what he would get in wherever he's at, and he won't do it because they won't let him have his creative vision. Like he wants to make what he wants to make, and he don't care if he gets like $1 bajillion for it. And I'm like, man, this art is going to find its way because nobody's making shit like that.
I think I know who it was too. And I mean, and this is just conjecture, just my own personal opinion, but I had heard that Guillermo del Toro had reached out to him when the first Terrified movie came out. And then I heard nothing after that. They were going to remake it with more money. And then
he did agree to write a screenplay for it. So he's writing a screenplay, and apparently it is getting remade, but he's not that attached to it.
Oh, okay.
But I'm sure, I mean, he probably took it. I mean, I guess being in that position, maybe he took the check so he could fund his next movie.
Film. Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes you got to do that too. Like one for them, one for you kind of deal. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any real shame in that at all. I mean, it's just one of those things where I don't necessarily think that we need to be remaking, foreign films, like especially ones that are this recent. I understand there are some that have translated really well and some that have been done to to a pretty solid degree. I'm trying to think of one, like The Departed, Infernal Affairs. Like, that's a pretty different movie, right? But I gotta say, like, doing Terrified, or even if they were to do like When Evil Lurks, it's just kind of like, why would you want to remake that when you could just watch the movie in its purest form?
You know, one thing that, and I don't want to spoil the whole like interview I had, but one thing that really struck me, and I made a TikTok post, which I'm not really popular on there for, so, but it really struck me as like really crazy is that Demian Rugna was one of the people that said he was going to quit after Terrified. And Terrified is an amazing fucking film. And
Fantastic.
And you know, I honestly think it's better than When Evil Lurks, but they're both great. And we wouldn't have gotten When Evil Lurks if that were the case. They don't make money out there, so when you say that we shouldn't be doing remakes, I totally agree. But in the same regard, I'm like, they're getting their money so that they can make money out there, because they're not blowing up out there like they are out here. You know what I mean? So they don't even have Blu-rays, DVDs,
No, nothing.
none of that stuff out there.
Did you see his first movie, Damian Rugna's first movie, about the guy that has that galaxy portal opens up in his stomach?
What is that?
It's called The Last Gateway.
I haven't
It's
seen
about a demonologist miscalculation results in a portal to hell opening in a man's stomach.
That sounds awesome.
From
2007?
Yes, sir.
All right. That's on my list now.
It's going on the list.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was also in Satanic Panic or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, his
yes.
Satanic Hispanics, yeah. Which was his was objectively my favorite one, I think, in that whole thing. Yeah, both of them are you can tell that their sense of humor is very similar in that regard, even though I would say Demi is probably a little bit more serious when it comes to his filmmaking and maybe not so much Kaye. But they both have that streak that runs right through the both of them, and I kind of love that. So,
absolutely.
Did you watch Killing God?
Yes.
Is it good?
It's not coffee table good, but it is good.
Okay.
Like I really enjoyed it. Imagine
I
consider it to be a 4 Rooms, but not an anthology, but that style of humor.
Okay.
But darker.
Cool.
So it reminded me of 4 Rooms, the way they talk to each other, and because it's him and Albert Pinto that work together on that one. So it has this kind of weird floating kind of humor. I don't know how to explain it, but it's dark stuff. It's got one trigger point in the whole movie, and it's at the end this time. And there's comparisons to things in there that you'll see when you watch it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Kind of seems like that's his thing. He likes to just do one big thing, and then it's the rest of the cookie crumbles. Which, I mean, I definitely think like this is one of those movies that once you sit down and you get past that moment, you're kind of, and this is something that I had to say to Alex, and we've been kind of beefing on the last couple of days about it, where he does a great job in his review, and I don't watch Alex's reviews until I see the movie. I just need his recommendation whole ass. Like, he just tells me in a message, I'm good. But I watched it, and he had been so big on just how crazy the movie was and how insane it was. And it's like I got to that moment, it was insane. And it was one of those things where I've had this moment watching it the first time where I was just like, okay, this is going to get even wilder. Like something beyond that is going to happen. Like, and I'm preparing for it. And then nothing like that happens. It gets crazy. Like, it gets even crazier once they like get the baby head out from under the chair and all that shit. And it gets wild. But I was expecting, okay, if we're starting here at the baby's head getting chopped off, what the fuck is going to happen next?
Exactly.
And, yeah.
Yep.
And we were joking with each other because I was like, you overhyped it and all that stuff. I was just giving him shit. But at the end of the day, it is one of those things where it's like, I love that it didn't get crazier. I love that it didn't do like When Evil Lurks, when you have the dog scene and then later on she's eating the kid walking down the road.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I liked that we have the one trigger and then you just have to sit with it. It's literally 60 minutes of you just watching this man gaslight his wife and his brother and his brother's girlfriend and be like, yep, everything's fine. The baby's cool. He's just sleeping. Just let him sleep.
That's what I thought was great was it's you, the audience, and the husband for the entire movie. And every little thing is so well written, where it's like when the wife comes home and she's berating him, laughing, being like, I wish I would have been here the moment that coffee table broke. And I'm like, brother.
Yeah,
and then like
too
with
much.
the whole like baby monitor with the dripping, it's like
That scene is
it's
so
like,
good.
oh my God, I know what that is. And like she doesn't know, and the husband's like, I got it. And I'm just like, oh my God, dude. Like just those types of things. I'm just like, it just makes you sit. And then you got the little girl up top where I'm like, she's coming back for sure. You know what I'm saying? Like just that anticipation of like, it's going to get wild. Yeah. I just thought every little thing was just so well written.
When the brother and his girlfriend came over and were so insistent upon like meeting the baby, but then he like, he diverted from that. But like the scene where they went into the room and then it had that slow camera shot of the kid's name on the wall and then over to the toys, that was just so grueling to sit with. And not only was that brilliant, two other things, like the humor in it, because there is humor in it, but like I didn't appreciate it while watching it, but upon reflecting on it, it made more sense to me. Like right after the incident happened and he was on the phone with his wife and then the phone, hung up and she called back and she said, "What, did it cut off?" And
I didn't pick up on that the second time.
No, and I didn't catch it at first, but that's she says, "What, did it cut off?" And there's so many little instances of they make reference to something being removed or missing that go throughout the whole entire, like that creepy gold baby head staring at him from that shelf. Like, it's wicked. It's so wicked. And then the scene where he's on the toilet recording that suicide note on his phone is brutal. Just brutal.
And then this brother comes in and hears him and he's like, "What did I just hear?"
When they're talking at the dinner table and they're asking, like, "Oh, what's it like after having a kid?" And, everything. Because it's like, I'm relatively new father. My son's only 2. So it's like, I've had this conversation where it's like, it changes your life. You think differently. You love your kids so much. And she's literally saying like, I'm nothing without him, or I would die for him, all this stuff. And you're just sitting there like, oh my fucking God, just tell her, bro. Just tell her, like, you're killing me right now. And it's just the baby's head. He's just staring at it across the room. It's
that gag in that movie is probably one of the best ever because it is that lingering presence. And what I think Kanye does, and I forget the terminology, is specific terminology, but it's called the guilty audience, where the audience has done the bad thing with whatever happened in the beginning, and then they feel guilty the entire time of the movie. So seeing that head under that thing and always constantly panning the camera to it every now and then whenever they're talking, and that constant reminder was like really just grueling. I think I lost it at the point that Chuck did with the bedroom with the toys. I was like, oh, okay, all right, Jesus fucking Christ, like this is too much, man. Like I was like, I can't handle it.
What you guys are saying is like off that initial part of like there's the teddy bear or whatever that's sitting on the couch and there's like 3 drops of blood. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's just like
teddy bear.
And it's just like, it's not like we never got to see like a full shot of the head laying on the ground and blood and guts and stuff, but you didn't need that shot. Like it was all just how they blurred it out and just those little pieces of blood on these little blankets and the toys and stuff. It's like, man, like it just makes you sick.
I think the long shot into the baby's room of the crib with the blood dripping on the floor disturbed me more than the actual event. Cause like just that mush, that squishy drip sound, like it made me feel like an awful human being for like witnessing what I was witnessing. But on the same note, I was like, just thinking like how could you even, it's over one screw. Like that's what the horror of it is like that shit can. I wonder how many incidents of something like that happen in the real world that you just never make the news or you don't hear about. Like it's so real and it's such a brilliant film.
And just to touch upon that little bit of like how we kind of perceive things through the news or how it passes the news cycle or something. At the very end, it's just so like, they're like, oh, Jesus, that's terrible. And what is, he's like, oh, he's gone crazy. He just keeps repeating the same thing over and over and over again. He's like, well, what's he saying? The coffee table. And it's like, oh. I was like, there it is. And it was just the perfect ending to me. I also like how he doesn't show everything. Like you were saying, we didn't see the incident. I assume that he tripped over the damn toolbox and then fell holding the kid on the table. I don't know how the hell he cut the bottom of his hand, but it just obviously something flipped up and then
that zooming shot of that iceberg standing piece of glass with enough blood. Oh, it was fun. I was like, oh, this is fucked up.
Well, I felt terrible because like I don't have kids. Like I don't have kids. I've got nieces that I don't spend really a lot of time with. I'm fucking terrible. But the kid in that long hallway shot, the baby screaming, and I'm sitting here going, the coffee table is supernatural. We're gonna have this like crazy stuff because like you take care of the coffee table, it takes care of you. So like all that sort of vibe. So I'm sitting here leaning back in my chair going, I need this kid to shut the fuck up. And then boom. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I was like, I'm a dick. Like, for sure. Like I was like, well, it stopped screaming. So
it sure did.
What did you think, Justin?
Real quick.
You said that the table was going to be supernatural. I thought that too, actually.
Yeah,
I was like, is the table just going to clamp on something?
So it like set up with the whole coffee table salesman. He's like, this is an unbreakable coffee table. If you take care of this particular coffee table, it's going to take care of you. And I'm like, okay, like it's going to be some like foreign supernatural, something happens to the coffee table. They like forget about it, or it, starts getting like dirty and dusty, and
the Amityville coffee table.
They have a kid, and it's just like got all this. So it like starts to do all these like haunting things, and that's where I thought the movie was going to go. So then I was like, man, we are in this hallway for a long time. Like this is a long shot. And then the baby's crying, and then it's not crying, and then it pans out, and I'm like, okay. Decapitated baby on the floor.
I will say Damien Rugna and what did you say, Kai? How do you say his name?
Or Kaye?
They do a really great job, because like if you look at this sequence, the long shot going into this, and then the sequence in When Evil Lurks with the dog, how it's like they do an excellent job of just, if you are like a person who like studies film, and you just you know when someone's playing into the old handbook of just like they're lingering on this for a long time, so they are intentionally trying to show you something. They're intentionally saying, pay attention here. Like the shots in When Evil Lurks, the dog going over to his clothes, and then it's sitting next to the girl. And it's like they're having this argument, and it's like, why do we keep cutting back to the dog? And it's like the same thing, but with this, it's like, okay, he's holding the baby, he's just walking back and forth. Why aren't we showing another angle? Why aren't we, watching him walk in the room? Why are we specifically staying out of the room? And then it happens. And it's like, I think both of them just like they play into like those, like I said, that classic cinematic language formula so well. It's like it's something that's like they did for ages ago. It's like an old rule, and they do it to the point where it's like we don't see a lot of that anymore. Everybody wants to show you everything, and it's like they just did it perfectly in both these films.
I agree, and I'm the kind of person that I would rather not see the monster than see the monster, because the tension and dread is way better for me than the actual reveal all the time. But also the way that they play it off of the baby screaming and the ex-wife screaming in the argument. So like that's like the deterrent to take away your focus from the clues that they give you, because it's just this manic, insane fucking scene. So you almost like when Evil Lurks, like you almost like they do focus in on the dog, but you almost forget about the dog because she's going so batshit nuts. But he already let you know, like just like you said with the clothes, that's where he got the dog got infected by the rotten, and you should know. But she was so polarizing and so loud that you're like focused in on that, and then the next thing you know, it's Shakedown Street City under the table. It's like, what the fuck?
That's what I was shocked about when I saw When Evil Lurks. Was I'm like, this dog's gonna like he's gonna grab one of these kids. And I'm like, it's gonna happen. Like, when is it gonna happen? I didn't know we were gonna get a front row seat.
Yeah.
Like, that's where it's like the shot behind where he's in the kitchen. I was just like, we're sitting here for a long. Oh, there it is. Like, and it just like I was the only person inside my theater, and I remember just being like, oh fuck, like, and then it just the brother walks down the stairs and shakes City, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah, dude, like that's one of those things for me. Like, I know this is a coffee table spoiler review, but like the last point I'll say on that, it's just they're best friends filmmakers. We see a lot of the correlations. We can get away with it. But like the idea too in that film where it's like the brother comes downstairs and like he's watching his sister get ragdolled under that table and he has to get his parents' attention. He's like, guys, what the fuck? Like, my sister is dying. It's insane.
One of the things I wanted to mention, and I know Chuck, you wanted to speak. I just want to mention this real quick, is that when I first saw Terrified, the first thing I thought of, I was like, these people are masters of suspense. Mm-hmm. Like, this is because the whole kid thing, the just sitting at the table was probably one of the most genius things I've seen in cinema since like in horror period. Like it's so genius. Like it's the elephant in the room. I've been taken out of movies when the elephant in the room is like in the daylight, you know what I mean? And they did it and they held you there. And then when I saw, When Evil Lurks, and then I saw this movie, I'm like, the correlations here with that suspense and how they're holding you there is really similar.
They are very similar, and I will touch on that real quick since we're getting away with this dual conversation. But the biggest knock I've heard from people, even though I do not agree with it on When Evil Lurks, is people said, well, he made a bunch of stupid decisions. And I said, my rebuttal to that always is, the brilliance of how that movie's directed, that they don't give you any build up. They throw you into a situation. So you're essentially in his shoes, figuring out this situation in real time as he's figuring it out. So like, what kind of decision would you make after you just threw this rotten dead body in the back of your fucking truck? You don't know what you're going to do. You want to save your family. Like, of course you're going to make some missteps and do things that are uncharacteristic because you're in a fucking shit show. And the same with Jesus is like the whole time I'm watching it and he's fucking pouring sweat in front of the brother. And it's like, if that happened to you or if that happened to me, could I fucking tell somebody? I mean, when I was like, I've done some shit in my life and like, I've never been, really forthright with like, just, hey, I just did this thing or this thing just happened to me, like, because you have that guilt and the all that builds up, and like the way that it plays into that and it just builds that tension. And I'll tell you what, that guy that I forget what his name is, that guy that played Jesus is like a master class performance in my opinion of film. But also them guys like Kaya and Damien, like the films and things that those guys like the stuff that they watch and like inspiration and things are the exact kind of films that they're trying to make. You know what I mean? Like they're fans of that.
They mentioned, I know Kaya mentioned a few of his favorites, but there were like three vastly different films. Nothing similar whatsoever, but it was like, there is that tension thing in there, and I don't know what it is, man. They like those flawed characters, and I think that's the essence of it. Is like some people want to like prune everything to make it so perfect, when really the beauty of it all is that we're all imperfect, And some of those imperfections really play out into the suspense of things. And you can use those as like trigger points for people who are watching because they're flawed characters doing flawed things. It excuses things in a way, I guess. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Because like those three films in general just have always, well, actually Killing God is pretty suspenseful too. So, but it's more of a humor thing. So.
It's wild how they use a lot of the same people too, like in their films. From what I'm learning about my now new connection with Argentina is they're like a community that supports each other because they are truly like the outcasts that love these horror movies. And like, they don't like, from what I've been told, like nobody there seen these movies. Like nobody supported When Evil Lurks there. Nobody supported The Coffee Table. That's why they're trying to get these brilliant. No, it's insane. They have such a wonderful voice that needs to be heard.
I agree. Your point is a very valid point because I've been thinking about this like nonstop, and it's like we sit here and talk about, oh, well, we don't have everybody that friends to hang out with all the time to watch all these movies. It's like, can you imagine them? Like
Right.
it's taboo. Everything that they do is taboo. Their country doesn't like it. They don't like the name Killing God in a movie. They buried that movie because of it, and you couldn't see it, so they got no exposure on it. So that's why he named The Coffee Table, by the way, is so that it would be innocuous and they could get away with it.
Yeah.
And some that was crazy that I found out about, I think it was in your interview, Alex. It might have been, or another interview. Was it like, with Damien, where in that movie, in order to get that made with the kids, all of the blood had to be blue. It was blue paint that they had to do on them, and they had to go through and actually like color correct the blood to red. Because their country won't let them do that. They're like, you can't
that's a
cover
smart way
kids
to do
in
it.
gore. Yeah, they're like, you can't cover kids in gore. We're not going to let that happen. I don't know how he got away with the dog scene or the kid getting eaten, but it's like it's that deep to them where they're just like, yeah, no, you can't do that. You have to use trickery and you have to use all this stuff. So it's like, think about how hard it is to pull off certain scenes in the United States where people are like making a big deal about it, where it's like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's like times 10 for them in Argentina. So it's like the fact that these guys are out here still pushing through it, even though they have to jump through 10 hoops just to get one little thing, like a little bit of blood on somebody. It's like, that's insane. That is absolutely committed.
You have to have the just straight passion, at that point. And I think that's what makes these guys' films great, because they do have to jump through so many goddamn hoops where it's like, unless you're very passionate, why jump through those hoops?
Yep.
So,
and for so little money too. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like he said that a normal budget out there, which is a big budget for them, is about $2 million.
That's crazy.
And that's a big budget out there. But for us, that's like indie, that's like higher indie level budgets. You know what I mean? Like usually it's about $1 million, $2 million on a smaller indie budget, I guess. I don't know. It depends really on the movie, but what do you think we should move on to now? Like, we have, obviously we are all big fans of this. Do you think that there's going to be like this new surge from Latin, like movies and stuff like that because of all these like different pieces that are coming into perspective out here?
I would love, because I'm a person, I talk about it on my channel quite a bit, how I just think foreign horror is just on an entirely other level, and it upsets me that the US just like, oh, this did super well, we're just gonna go remake that in a year and a half. And it's like, oh my god. And it's like, I don't think When Evil Lurks is getting remade anymore, right? Last I read,
it's not.
Like they were going to do, like he was supposed to do a US remake. I'm like, there's no way the US is going to allow the dog scene. There's no so it's not even going to be like the same movie. So it's like, there's just different things that foreign horror can get away with because the US is just so like, you literally can't. But I talk about it on my channel a lot. There's a vast majority of US people as soon as they find out it's foreign, just because they have to read the subtitles,
I know.
they're like, I ain't fucking watching it, man.
Which
And
is
I was like,
sad.
I agree.
it's just like, you missing out there, dude. Like, especially in horror, like, I mean, arguably some of the greatest horror films of all time are foreign, 100%.
Well, and if this movie can make us feel this suspense with reading, and I mean, this movie is not using tricks of the eyes to really do everything. I mean, it is, but I mean, it's mostly the dialogue that's like so in like grabs you. And if you can read it and do it, you're really missing out. But you know, I understand there's some people that are dyslexic. It's a little tough for them.
100%. There are.
That's a small percentage.
Very small. Sure.
Most people just don't want to do it.
It's true.
Yeah.
On the coffee table video alone, I probably had 1,000 people be like, I was so stoked until you said it was Spanish. I ain't fucking watching it.
Dude,
what do you mean? Like, that's just the personal thing. I'm just like, I guess I respect it, but I fully, if you have 100%, if you're capable, and just the entire reason is I just don't want to, or whatever. It's like, dude, you're just missing out, man.
I think it's a weird flex because like horror's not just English. Like horror is it defines genre and it defines skin color and it defines culture. Like some of the best horror films I've seen in like the last 2 years, none of them were American film. None of them.
Hell no.
I mean, there's a couple of them that were really good, but you know, like When Evil Lurks, and I don't know if you guys seen Salam. It's the first film shot in in Africa, and I mean, and it's like it's fucking brilliant. I mean, if they'd had a couple more dollars for their CGI, it would have been next level. But like, I just watched another one the other day, the French-Spanish thing called Omen, which was totally like a twisted drama. But the thing that they do that they have the advantage that the United States doesn't capitalize on is like they're tied into the culture and the lore and like even the coffee table, you know what I mean? Like the way that they live in that culture is very on display in the film. The same with When Evil Lurks, you know what I mean? Like it has like a mysticism to it, like Exuma from this year, South Korea. You know what I mean? Like
seen that one.
It's fucking. It's a 10 out of 10. It's phenomenal.
Really? Okay.
But oh yeah, it's my favorite horror film of this year. Period. Because the coffee table technically doesn't count.
Mm-hmm.
And if it does count, it's the coffee table then Exuma.
Okay.
But that's how I feel about it because it's just so it's brilliant. Like because it ties into the lore of these people and how they respect the dead and all this different shit. Like, and if you pay attention to it, which I think reading subtitles allows you to feel that more than hearing it. Like, cause you're like getting deep into it. I used to hate subtitles and somebody told me that if I watched Game of Thrones with subtitles that I would learn about it and appreciate it way more than I did. But listen, there's 3-minute scenes in Game of Thrones that have subtitles where you can hear people and catch conversation, that if you turn them off, that you can't hear any of that stuff because it's like in the background that gives you so much context to what's happening. And then I was like, you know what? This is the ticket. So subtitles for life for me. I love them.
Yeah. I watch so many things with subtitles. Like it's a normal watching experience for me.
I watch them on English shit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Same.
There's a couple of things that I'll bring up about that too, and then we can move on or whatever.
Sure, whatever.
But with subtitles, one, having it be I feel like a lot of people have a problem with it's foreign. They have to read. They don't want to put down their phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like people are watching movies on Instagram, half-ass watching. Just be like, yeah, this movie sucks. Well,
I mean, I tend to do it with notes, but that's about it.
Yeah, but like, it's like, I watch these people in like the theater and different things when they're watching, like, you know, or whatever, like, they're just on their phone, and then the movie gets done and you hear them, well, that movie sucked because you were on your phone 65% of the time. You're not paying attention. What always cracks me up is the same people that are like, I will not watch a foreign film because it has subtitles, but why the hell are all horror movies the fucking same? There's no creativity. There's nothing original. I'm like, motherfucker, what do you can't come in here and tell me you want something original, and then I say, watch this, and they go, well, that doesn't count because it's foreign.
Right.
It more than counts.
It just blows my mind every single day. Every single day.
Do you know what got me into foreign horror is J-horror, I think. When I started, well, I knew Italian. Like, I knew Italian movies got me into it, but they always had dubs. So I was kind of used to that, and I didn't mind dubs with those kind of films because they're kind of silly. But, you know, I still love them, like City of the Living Dead or whatever. But Japan, I think, when I started watching Japanese movies, then I started opening up everything. It was like, okay, what else is out here? You know, and now I'm like into Turkey and, like, you know, Indonesia
Belgium.
and Hong Kong and, you know, wherever I can go, I want it anywhere. So I don't give a fuck if there's subtitles. If there's a good movie out there that I haven't seen, I'm going to watch it.
I'm going to watch it.
I'm the same.
Same way. Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me whether it's subtitled or not, or what language it's spoken in. It's really horror for me comes down to concept. Primarily is what sells me. Like, at this point with the channel and everything, I'll give anything a shot. But like, if it's just me on my own, if it's intriguing, if it's something that I feel like I have never seen before, I don't care. Like, I'm like, if this is something that I'm gonna like spend time with because the idea is cool, like, that's what I look for. It's kind of like, you know, I guess maybe that's judging a book by its cover in a sense, but like, it's one of those things where it's like, I want to know, like, what kind of a story are you trying to tell right now? Like, that's where I sell it. And, you know, one of the things, this is a totally different film. You know, I don't think it's classified as horror, but Godzilla -1, it was so crazy to see people, like, actually go out and see that movie who are like, I never see subtitled movies. Like, oh, it wasn't that bad. I actually got through and saw it, and like, it was cool. Like, I love my coworker to death, but he was one of those people who was like, I don't want to see it, it's subtitled. Went and saw it, and it's like his favorite Godzilla movie. And I'm just like, dude, like, this is what I've been telling you, bro. Like, you are missing out on so many other movies because you're like, I don't want to read. He's like, well, I felt like I wasn't even reading, like, you know, after like 10 minutes. He's like, I felt like I was just watching it. I'm like, that's precisely what it is. Like, it's all a science. It's all like timed perfectly. So that way it's like, yeah, you will have enough time to read it. You'll catch more things. You will enjoy it. You'll pay attention. Like what Slash Talk was just saying there, where it's like, you'll pay attention more.
Yep.
Especially if you get into the extreme horror side of things, like
the French.
French. I was gonna say French, man. Oof.
French, South Korea, Belgium. Listen, Australia's a major player.
Australia, I love Australia.
Yeah. Australia does not give a fuck. But like, even if you look at like the most disturbing movies ever, or the lists that all these people talk about the same shit, like 90% of that shit is foreign. Like, the U.S. isn't churning out these fucking massacre flicks or nothing, you know what I mean? Because it's so tame. I mean, they have some, you know what I mean? Maybe early on in the 70s with the Last House on the Lefts and stuff like that, but it's not consistent.
The most recent thing, and it's wild to see because you see all the backlash from like news and parents and different things. You know, when Terrifier 2 went absolutely batshit crazy in the theater, like, you know, like, people were like, what is this? This is like the devil movie and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, dude, this like, if you guys are freaking out about this like, it's great, but like, it's really, that just shows you like the US, like the culture here. There's like, well, you can't be showing this. Like, dude, that ain't shit.
It's like a walled garden almost.
Yeah.
In some
ways.
ways.
So it's just like, that you kind of see where like most US, the culture is like, when Terrifier blew up, it's just kind of like, this movie's evil. And it's like, okay, it's kind of mean for sure. But like, I mean, when you compare it to what people are doing overseas, it's like, dude, this isn't
It's a
anything.
mean-spirited slasher, but it's still a slasher movie. It's still having fun with the concept of like, he's like, that bedroom scene is so over the top after a while where it's like, yeah, dude, like she would have been dead 5 minutes ago. Like there's no way.
Yeah,
But,
no,
like,
but
then you watch like When Evil Lurks or something, like what's another film? Like I Saw the Devil or something, and it's like the stuff that happens in those movies, it's like, fuck me, dude. Like what the hell? The sadness? Like
exactly. That's what I'm saying though. It is if like, the sadness would have been put out by Universal in some mass release, English spoken, there's no shot. There's no way. There's no fucking way. Like, and so it's just like the fact that I love the Terrifier franchise and what Damien Leone has done, all that, but it's like, if that's the most recent thing in years that I can personally think of that kind of like pushes the boundary for US films, it's like,
it's so tame compared to some of the other stuff. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think I already know this answer, but I mean, something I want to ask you guys is someone asked me, because they asked me in the interview, because Kaya was like, so, what is it that, why are you drawn to these movies? Like, we nailed it right there. Is that we don't get to see it. We don't get to see that sort of side of cinema. And I personally have started to lean a hell of a lot more towards indies films now than mainstream ever. In fact, it's very rare that I even do reviews of big mainstream movies for me personally, because I don't get the same vibe. These little movies make me feel something more than I ever get from those big ones.
I don't even give a shit about half the new stuff. Like, I didn't go see Abigail. I didn't go see The First Omen at the theater just because I kind of already know. You know what I mean? Like, not that I know, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be disappointed to some degree. Like, it might be good.
Right.
But it's not going to be something that like knocks my dick in the dirt. You know what I mean? Like, now there's some coming up that I think could go there, because I think Longlegs is going to go there, and I think
Longlegs looks good.
Yeah, and from what I read about it, like, I think they made it as despicably dark as they possibly could. And from the people I know that have seen Cuckoo, whether they liked it or not, they said that it really goes there. There's another one coming out called Azrael that fucking goes super fucking hard. So I think maybe that it's changing a little bit, but I want to feel scared. I've been chasing that feeling since Poltergeist when I was a little kid. Like, 'cause Poltergeist scared the shit out of me. Like, I want to be scared. And like, I want to be shocked, like coffee table shocked. Not shocked because there's buckets of gore on the screen or anything like that. Like, that's why I watch a lot of documentaries too, because like they're true. So they give me like a shock factor to digesting them, which is weird, but I want to feel that feeling, and you don't get that from a lot of US films.
I agree.
100%.
I think that you hit the nail on the head there, man. That's like a really good way to put it. What about you, Justin? I mean,
I lean towards foreign. I think it's just kind of a mix of what you guys have said. Is I just feel like I feel like US just has like these boundaries, like these invisible boundaries that are put on their films, and it's like, if certain incidents or certain things are a part of your story, it has to be shown off screen, or it has to be implied or whatever. And it's just, not that I'm saying that I have to see it all the time, but like foreign horror, just, they're not afraid to like put a front row seat and like, here it is. Like, it's chaotic, and that's the closest that I get to, like, when I shut a foreign movie off, usually I'm just kind of like, fuck me. like, and that's the closest thing. Like, I don't know that I'm ever going to be like scared, like, because I'm so desensitized, but like, once in a while, there's just certain things like the tension and things like the coffee table. I haven't felt like that in years. Where it's just like I shut it off and like it just ugh.
That's not true. That's not a true statement because it's a beautiful love story to the beginning of our friendship. And the reason the reason that me and Justin even became friends is over a foreign film, and it's Kidnapped. Have you seen Kidnapped?
I have not.
Yeah, I don't know. I know what it is, but I don't think I've seen it. Yeah,
Kidnapped is an absolutely relentlessly brutal home invasion film that it's just it piles it on and on and on, and when you think it can't get any worse, it does. And it has. Go ahead.
From 2010.
Yep.
Okay.
It has,
that's what it is.
Listen, it has not a speck of fucking hope. Nothing, and I loved it. And he popped up on one of my things. I seen a review that he did, so I watched it, and I was like, "Man, I fucking love this kid," because I loved it. But that's literally how we started even communicating with each other, was over the movie Kidnapped, which is a subtitled brutal foreign horror movie. And the very end of it, what happens at the end, I'm not going to say it's as shocking as what happens in the coffee table in the beginning. But you never see it coming, and it's the bleakest shit ever. And I was like, damn, I can't fucking believe they did that. But, like, I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
That movie opens up, and you just know. You just know from the first scene, you're just
from
like,
the gate,
I'm in for a fucking ride, bro. It's got this cool, like, split screen thing, too, where you see the POV of the home invaders. And you see the POV of
I like that.
So it's the same scene, and your anxiety is just like, oh my God, because they're trying to break into this room and they're trying to get out, and you see both perspectives at the same time. It's like, what the fuck is going on? It takes a little bit to kind of get, but it's.
I'm looking it up now. I'm definitely going to add that to my watch list for sure.
Yeah,
I was actually going to ask you guys what are some good movies to see so that everybody could kind of get a vibe of something like this movie that they could also try out too. So
when Kidnapped gets, it takes maybe 15 minutes. Like after the initial beginning of the scene, it takes maybe 15, 18 minutes to get you there. And when it gets you there, it goes, and it goes very hard. Damn. But it's fantastic.
To answer your question there, Alex, the movie that I would recommend that you guys see, and I don't think you can see it right now, but you might be able to reach out for a screener. So you two might want to take a look at this. Alex, you might want to as well. I saw it at Fantastic Fest last year. I absolutely appreciate the film. I think it's a brilliantly shot, constructed movie. Hated watching it. Hated every second of it. It's just one of those movies that got under my skin because of the subject matter and the material, but it's called The Uncle. And it's a dark comedy. It's so much like this. It's German. And it's wild. It's one of those ones. The concept is so out there, and I love the way it unravels. It's one of those things where it's like you see it happen. Like they introduce you to a concept, because I'm going to keep it very vague. They introduce you to a concept. Things are these people are doing something, and they have to do this something every single day in order to get something. And it's
foreign?
Yes, it's German. I saw it at Fantastic Fest last year, and it's one of those films that just Luke absolutely adores it. I still gave it like high marks and everything, but it is a movie that it's like a one and done. It's like I don't know if I could sit down and say I want to watch it. Like I could watch The Coffee Table again. This is one of those ones where I'm like, I think I'm good on that. Not because it's bad. I think it's like I've experienced it. I got it. I'm happy.
Enough?
It's enough.
Is it set in Yugoslavia in the 80s?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm all over this.
You know what kind of reminds me of when you say that is Megalomaniac.
Oh,
yeah.
Talk about a film that just makes you feel really dark and just not good.
Yeah.
But man, is it a beautifully fucking shot movie. It's just dark.
If you ever want to do another one of these things when I figure out my microphone and lighting. I have a very interesting perspective on Megalomaniac.
Oh, really? Okay.
That I would fucking love to talk about.
You're one of the only people I know who has even talked about it, and so like,
listen, I did a Megalomaniac video way before, like,
right.
And I'm not nobody or anything like that, but like, that's the shit I look for, and like, I've seen it and I watch it. I might have had 600 followers on TikTok when I made my Megalo, and it didn't do shit. Nobody watched it, whatever. And then all of a sudden, these months later, people were talking about it, and I'm like, well, I'm glad people are watching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that movie is so fucking brilliantly done that I think it leaves this. I found like this little loophole of perspective that I think really works. That makes it make so much more sense to me. And if I think of it from that perspective, it makes it even more brilliant to me.
So there's another movie for you guys to watch.
I'd honestly be down to do that because we saw Megalomaniac, but we were inundated with we had a short film festival that weekend that we had seen it. Like we got a screener for it, and then we literally went right into Fantastic Fest. So we never got a review out for it, but I saw it, and it is something that I was like, we got to circle around to that at some point, me and my co-host. So like, I would love to sit down and talk about that movie. We have not talked about it on our channel.
Something about Megalomaniac that I really like, though, is that there was some sexual scenes, but they didn't go like, it's like they went far, but they didn't go that kind of too much far. You know what I mean?
Right. Like it was like in your face with restraint.
Right.
It wasn't like an
oddly
irreversible or Last House on the Left or yeah.
And this is like technically it's about the kids of a serial killer. So,
which was true.
Yeah. Very true.
Or it's like an actual it's
real.
Based off a true So
or it could be the kid and not kids.
That's true.
Yeah, it's a wild movie, man. It's definitely one I would love to sit here and theorize with you guys for a bit about, because it's one that, like, again, we never got around to it, and like, I know that if people really picked up on this, that's one of those ones that I think like audiences who like this kind of stuff would be very curious to see where that one goes. The only problem I think with Megalomaniac is like the coffee table's a quick watch, like what is an hour 20, hour 25. Megalomaniac's like what, a little over 2 hours.
It's a pretty heavy runtime.
It goes for a while, so it's like it might exhaust you, but I say it's worth it. I enjoyed it. So
yeah, me too. I think it's bleak and fucking hopeless.
It's so good.
Yeah, it definitely is.
So good.
Another one that's not as strong, I would say, and I know Chuck has seen it. It's Do Not Disturb, who I got to interview the director on, a movie about a couple who are in a really terrible relationship that are going to try to fix it.
Oh, the one in the beach house when they rent that. I love that movie, man.
No. This one is in a condo, and they
start doing the drugs.
Yeah,
they start. Yeah, oh yeah, I fucking loved it. It was good.
Great movie, man. Like for an independent film, that was like, it blew me away. Like I was like, hell yeah. And some people didn't like it, but I really loved it, man.
It's a really trippy flick, man.
Yeah.
And it goes into, like not only like the relationship, and it goes into her trauma and everything. Like it's a deep little fucking movie, man.
I felt for every single one of the characters in there in some weird, meaningful way, which was so weird because I did not like the guy in the movie.
Me neither, yeah.
But then there was like at the end, I was like, oh shit, I feel kind of bad for the guy now. You know what I mean? Like, and that's pretty masterful in my opinion.
If you like that movie, because that's not an easy one to follow, because it's very, allegorical. Sure. There's one that I loved, and it was probably in my top 5. I think it was my number 3 favorite movie of last year, and it's called Soft Liquid Center. It's extremely experimental, and it's absolutely brilliant, and it will make you look at watermelons different for the rest of your fucking life.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. I mean, we've already ruined the coffee table, so
it's about grief and this lady that gets out of this relationship, and how it's so brilliantly done. But like how people always go back to trauma, because when you don't have trauma that's affected by another human being, just like Baby Reindeer, like. Did you see Baby Reindeer?
I haven't seen it yet. I've been
My wife watched that whole thing on Sunday. She loved it.
It's a 10 out of 10. It's phenomenal. But like he was being stalked in Baby Reindeer, but like if he wasn't being stalked and he got rid of her, he would feel alone because something's better than nothing in certain people's lives. And Soft Liquid Center is very much about like the reflection of you don't even realize you're like when you're in something and you're involved in a relationship, you don't even know how whittled away at your psyche somebody can make you until you're separated from them. And then it's like her process going through that. And it is so fucking brilliant. I love that movie with all my heart.
It sounds like something up my speed because I've had a shitload of bad relationships. And I think in some weird, sick, fucked up way, that's how I relate to it, is watching these fucked up movies.
Right. Or you stay, or like you should leave a relationship, but you stay way long past the expiration date because it's like, yeah, this really fucking sucks, but if I roll, I ain't got shit.
Right.
And like I think that's like a thing. Like I think you find comfort even in the negativity, that's what the whole movie's based on. And I couldn't recommend it enough.
Do you have one, Justin, before you go? I know you got to run here.
I'm going to take one of the movies behind Chuck there. If you guys haven't seen Real, give it a watch.
Real.
I have not seen Real, so I'll have to check that one out.
Oh wait, here you got a pencil. It's realstore.net.
.net.
REEL store.net. Go ahead, Justin.
I don't know
favorite.
You guys, it's the directorial debut of Slasher Victim 666.
Okay.
Our friend.
And he's a friend. We might be in Real 4. Who fucking knows? I'm waiting for him to show up at my doorstep, swear to God. But it's this brilliant, I thought, brilliant. It's like this found footage, but like documentary, but it's like his directorial debut. He stalks this YouTube guy, like he sends him a camera. And like it's like this entire, but like he's stalking him, and it's this it's split up into chapters, and he's going after this guy named Todd Smith, and it's just he's got a family of directors, and it's just brutal, dirty, grimy. Just the last 20 minutes, Chuck, right? Like 20 minutes, 20 minutes is just. It's
hard.
Like VHS, like real deal.
Okay.
Like, it's if you like that kind of stuff.
I mean, I'll try anything.
And then the second one goes harder.
But the perspective that he does it from is it's a found footage movie starring in a found footage movie without the found footage guy knowing he's in this fucking psychopath's movie. So like the whole concept is brilliant. But if you dig deeper than that and you go around his website, the lore that this man has, his name is Chris Goodwin. That's what Slasher Victim 666's real name is. The lore that he created, he made a handwritten book about the 50 movies that inspired him. And one of them is Pink Floyd Live at Pompeii. And he goes into how it like psychologically affected him. And then the next one could be like Irreversible. Like it's this wild shit. But he put so much effort into the lore of this character that makes it even more fucking brilliant.
Yeah, and the Todd Smith YouTube channel is a real YouTube
It's
channel.
Real, yeah.
Wow,
you can get
that's
on
even
YouTube
more.
and look up Todd Smith's, and all the videos are there. So it's just it feels very real. Like not to be a pun off of but like it does. It feels very real, and just how his voice, how he speaks.
I was messaging, we're going to interview him. And he sent me, he was like, send you a sneak peek of Real 3. And like my phone, like my Instagram chat has all these pictures of cellophane plastic ladies wrapped in duct tape on the fucking floor, all from this guy. It's so crazy. If the third one is good, I think it's the best found footage series ever. And I'll go on record saying ever. And I think
I'm gonna
the best,
definitely look into it. I see it's free on Vimeo, so I'm gonna check it out.
It's free. The first one's free. The second one you rent for like $5.
$5, yeah.
It's like straight from his.
I mean, if
site, so it's going.
if I buy the
straight to
ticket,
him.
take the rent on the first one, I'll buy the second one for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and it's the second one somehow goes harder. Like you don't think that there's no fucking way. There's a way.
interesting. See, now
I'm
you guys got
definitely
me all
down.
perked up about all this stuff now, so that's great.
Yeah,
It's
I mean
so good.
that's insane. All I was gonna mention on the last bit here was two movies that I feel like I don't talk about enough that I think are pretty hardcore, which is Eden Lake from 2008.
Oh yeah,
If you guys have seen that one,
That's my comfort
Eden Lake's
movie.
great.
and then The Loved Ones, which is another.
Love
We were
it.
talking
Oh,
Australian horror. I know Alex and I talked about that a little bit. I think offhanded.
Chuck and I just watched one called Killing Ground.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
Australian.
It's Australian, very similar to Eden Lake. I think Eden Lake is better. It goes a little harder.
Oh yeah.
But Killing Ground, if you like the Eden Lake vibe, it's right up there as well.
The Stanley knife scene in Eden Lake's one of my favorite of all time.
But yeah, guys, so I hope you enjoyed our talk and our little discussion. Obviously, we're horror fans, so this stuff reminds us of everything. And I'm sure you're the same way as us. So you've got a lot of movies to watch, including The Coffee Table. But everybody, thank you guys so much for coming on the show and sharing your thoughts with me. It was a huge honor and a pleasure. You are always welcome to come back, obviously, in the future, and hope to do it again. Do you have any places that we can shout out that you guys want to tell them where to go? I'll put all the links down below, of course.
Just Slasher Talk on TikTok, and then I think it's Slasher Talk Horror on Instagram and YouTube.
Okay.
Mine TikTok is at Charlie Napalm 2. And then all my links are in my link tree on there. It's the easiest way to find it.
But yeah, for those of you who probably already know, because Alex and I are always collabing, but Splattercast over here, Luke and I are always reviewing new fun horror flicks. We're always doing our little dissection videos. We got some new fun content coming out pretty soon. If YouTube starts acting correctly again, we'll hopefully see that sooner rather than later. And then also, Alex, if you want to chime in with me on this, Mondays, every other Monday, we go live with our buddy Evan from Rockland Graves, and we
rotate from all of our YouTube, so you're going to want to follow all of us: Rockland Graves, Splattercast, and of course me. But you'll know that.
Yeah. I mean, we'd love to have you gentlemen on at some point. We're trying to get guests involved soon too, so
yeah, cool.
that'd be great.